the criteria Latifi needs to do to get re-signed, not get last. Oh, Spa's back, and lights out, and away we go. And Lewis Hamilton is halfway to space.
Personally, go IndyCar over Williams.
Yeah, Grosjean Zhu?
Guan Yu
Zhou.
Guan
Yu Zhou. No,
Zhou
Zhou
Guan
Guan
Yu.
Yu. I said that the first time. George was already sitting in that seat.
Look, I don't agree with it, but you've asked a question. I'm trying to find a way to justify
And I'm just
it.
trying to absolutely tear your answer apart.
G'day and welcome to Formula Bums. My name is Jacko. With me, as always, is Andy. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. Yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. I think I'd be a little bit better if this was Friday, but for a Thursday, as good as we can be, I think.
That's fair.
Look,
I mean, we can't record Fridays because the episode comes out Fridays.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're busy. And also, we have a production schedule we try and keep to as much as we can.
Only when I'm in the country.
Yes, you are the driving force behind the organisation we use.
Yep.
I will never not deny that. Look, we're talking about the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm doing a bit of a preview. Traditionally, we don't really care for this race. However, it's very, very, very special this year.
Very special.
Daniel Ricciardo's back.
I was going to say there might be a massive appendage there.
Yes. Yes, and in every home around the country who watches.
It's going to be a good race.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic race. I hope that the TV direction is just like, give the people what they want. Just that red button should only link to Daniel Ricciardo's car. In fact, there should be no other feed. Just Danny Cam all weekend.
Maybe we should ask KO to get Sky Glass for us, and so we can just have Danny Cam.
Man can dream. Look, also, I have such a love-hate relationship with like TV technology. We were in the country when Ozstar, which is like country Foxtel, I guess.
Yep. I remember having Ozstar.
You remember Ozstar? Do you remember how there was a 4-color, and every now and then they'd launch a new feature? It was, how shit was it way back in the day?
Oh, mate. I still remember when Super Saturday on the NRL, it had the red button, and you could just change to different feeds of the different games. But the games were played separately, so it was just feeds from the ground. There was no games getting played. It was just a feed from the ground, so you could watch them warm up or something.
This is a genuine question, right? So how old were you when that was occurring?
Fuck. Like, I want to say somewhere in the age of 12 to 14.
Do you think that had an effect on the career you went into where you pressed the red button, you went, this fucking sucks, I'm going to go do this properly, and became a producer?
No.
Because, I mean, it lines up relatively well.
No, back when I was 14, I wanted to be a car engineer. But then I learned how difficult that was.
So you focused on production, so managing the engineers.
Yeah.
Hey, that's just smart money right there, man. Look, it's Hungary.
I'm hungry.
I am hungry. I'm going to be doing quite a bit of cooking after this and watching some football because it's Thursday. However, what should we start with for Hungary? Have you got news for us this afternoon, Andy?
Let's start with the life update we got.
Okay, we had
the King.
I guess, yeah.
The King finally posted.
Today, Lord of the Rings 3 came out. Return of the King. Nicholas Latifi.
It was Monday, wasn't it?
I only saw it today.
You're really good at keeping up with the news, aren't you?
Yeah, not great. I'm not going to lie. Dude, if the world ends, I'm going to find out 15 minutes after everybody else. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I've got no fucking clue what's happening. Run us through it.
So he's been staying off social media this year for obvious reasons. People have been wondering what he's doing, what's his next progress, and turns out it's not even racing. He's going to go into business school this August.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. So one, we were very, very critical of Latifi's driving, as was the whole entire sport. But I remember we constantly went, we really, really like this man as a person. And he is. He's a fantastic dude. Canadians, except for 2. There's only 2 Canadians I've ever encountered that I don't like. And for some reason, they're both still in the sport.
You've
Nick on the
encountered
other
them?
hand, by nature of watching the sport.
Fair enough.
Well, you encountered the Japanese alter ego of one.
Ran Stroll.
Rant. Still highlight.
Fucking hilarious.
Highlight of the Japan trip is finding that clearly purposeful typo.
Oh, it was great.
It's nice to see that there is a career and there's a pathway for him after racing. As soon as it came out, though, every comment essentially went along the lines of, he's going to business so he can come back into racing as either like manager or team owner or things like that. And if that does occur, and it's all speculation, that would be a cool way to still stick in the sport that you love. We have seen drivers turn into team owners. Normally, it's very successful drivers.
Yeah, but he's a billionaire. Well, I mean,
Yes.
his dad is.
Yeah. Do you see a racing team forming around this young man over the next 15, 20 years? No.
No.
Okay.
I reckon he'll just go into the family business. So it'll be a coffee boy.
Yeah, and just be a billionaire. Like, no, I couldn't be a superstar race car driver. I guess I'll just be the 1%.
I'll just
of the
cry
1%
into
for the rest
these
of my
millions
life.
of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, good to see an update because I do think that Nicholas was treated quite unfairly online by that negative portion of any fan base that exists. F1's no different from any fan base. There's going to be the casuals, there's going to be the hardcores, and there's going to be that negative, malicious faction that just seems to pop up whenever humans are fucking involved with anything.
You mean the negative connotations that is Team LH, right?
They're a large portion of the negative community, but they exist for every driver. I think why Team LH gets or is so prevalent at the front of our minds constantly is one, we're natural Max fans. So we do have a slight inherent bias. But the other aspect is they're very, very pervasive around all areas. So a lot of the negative parts of the fan base, you've got the engine heads who hate the fact we've gone hybrid and all they care about is changing the engine. You've got a different group for everything. Where Team LH always sticks their nose in is it's on every little facet of every part of society at all times. So, you had the Roscoe getting a meal thing. You had the vegetarian restaurant or the vegan restaurant option. You've had them go after drivers and things like that. I can't remember if LH was really like actively against Nicholas Latifi, but I'm assuming so.
His fans were calling for his head because of Abu Dhabi 2021.
Oh,
like they were calling for Michael Massey's head at Abu Dhabi 2021.
I'll never forget the day one of my employees came to me and he's like, "You like F1, yeah?" I was like, "Yeah, a bit." He goes, "Oh, I met someone who used to work for F1." I was like, "Do you remember his name?" And he was like, "Yeah." He said his name was Michael Massey. I was at his daughter's wedding and I was like, "Oh, you didn't meet someone who works for F1. You met the man who brought about one of the most controversial and will be talked about for the rest of the sport's existences." And he's like, "Really? What happened?" So I filled him in on the whole story and he was like, "Oh, well, he seemed really relaxed and calm about the whole thing." I was like, "Yeah, pressure's off him for now."
He was always relaxed and calm, even when the team bosses were going at him, though. Toto would be at him and it was like, "Michael, you need to reinstate the lap before." And he turned around and be like, "Yeah, I'm just having a look at it, mate. Just having a look."
It's also that Australian delivery that I think rubs a lot of people the wrong way too, where it is almost relaxed to a fault.
Can't help being an Australian.
No, it's just who we are. Look, do you have any other big news to go through today?
Just that AlphaTauri, besides bringing an upgraded driver, are bringing a bunch of upgrades for their car.
What are they focusing on? And then the follow-up question to that is, do you expect to see the times get better for AlphaTauri on the track?
I'll answer the latter first. No. What they're doing is they're looking for a balance. So the AlphaTauri this year is really unstable in the rear, especially during low-speed corners, which is why Danny being there is a bit iffy in my book because he struggled in the McLaren when it was struggling in high-speed corners and low-speed corners, yeah? Yep. So they're bringing an upgrade to the underfloor, in specific the tunnel inlet area, to allow a volume of airflow through the underfloor. They're continuing I hate this article. The rear bodywork's getting an upgrade as well, creating basically another way to get airflow through, that sort of stuff. Sorry, it reduces the damage of the airflow going through the rear bodywork to keep it stable. I only read half the sentence trying to skim over this. I'm not really good at this stuff.
It's making sense.
There's also an upgrade to the diffuser. It's been blown out a little bit, giving it a greater lateral expansion. And this will, pulls the airflow wake out from the rear tires, reducing the blockage that forms when the diffuser's not working. And finally, the rear wing is getting a medium downforce upgrade. If you want more, I'm going to post this article in the description. You can read it for yourselves. I just skimmed over it.
Yeah, look, now I'm going to take a bit of a shot at interpreting these changes that they're bringing. Now, I'm not a technical engineer.
Neither am I.
Not technical or engineering at all. Yeah. But this doesn't sound to me like, okay, we're bringing these upgrades to increase what our strengths are. This sounds to me like foundational steps to go, okay, we've identified the problem in our platform. These are the bare foundational building blocks we need to put in to actually bring about genuine development performance. It sounds like this is the foundation layer.
Yeah, this is basically what they're doing. They're bringing in what they think will cause the times to come down, and it's just going to come down to setup to see if they can zone in on what they need to do.
It'd be interesting. I mean, I'm not expecting big things. As much as I would love to be like, it's Hungary, Danny comes back, it's a freak race, he gets a win. Like, yes, that's the dream right there. But in reality, it's going to be really, really nice to see Daniel Ricciardo come 14th and Tsunoda 17th. And that's enough. That's what we need out of him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think it goes to speak. When they fire Sergio Perez on Christmas Day later this year...
Whoa, I have an update on that.
You do?
Yes, but it's not about Sergio. It's about Danny. But anything that involves Danny relates to Sergio. An article came out that quoted Christian Horner today, and it's on F1.com, that stated that we are preparing Daniel for a return in 2025. A date was actually placed on it.
Okay. Well, that means next year to me. That literally means next year to me. Anyway, to further my point, for Daniel to race in a Red Bull next year, he's not only got to slap the piss out of Tsunoda this weekend, but he needs to slap the piss out of where the car theoretically can come. And right now, it's the worst car on the grid, bar the Alfa Romeo, yeah?
Yes, and that's track-ish dependent too.
It's very track-ish dependent, but overall, average-wise, whatever you want to describe it, the Alfa Tauri and the Alfa Romeo are the two worst cars on the grid.
Correct.
So if Daniel Ricciardo aims for 15th because that's all the car can get, and he comes 13th or 12th and still slaps the piss out of Tsunoda, then that's a win.
Massive win. And
it's just finishing ahead of Tsunoda going forward is his goal.
Yes, finishing ahead of Tsunoda, and also, I guess, consistent delivery in the car. So, defining a setup that is easy for the team to manage and use, all those little things. We know that Daniel is one of the best people to have in your team from a culture perspective. So that buys this man a huge amount of capital. I don't think there was a team principal who didn't say, man, we wish we could actually have Daniel at this point, but we're just in a position where it's not an option.
He's very expensive.
Very expensive, and when it's working, it is 100% worth it. Yes, I am wearing rose-tinted glasses back to his actual days in Red Bull. Anyone who critiques his career after that does have some valid points when they're like, look, he may be washed. I'm still going to stick with the fact that he is a born and bred Red Bull natural and can only work and live in that ecosystem. The same way with, I guess, Max. We've never seen Max outside the ecosystem. We don't know what he's able to do. Checo's very, very adaptable, and we know that. Same with Carlos, I'd say. But because of their adaptability, they're not these natural freaks in that one machine. So there's kind of that give and take, I guess. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this because I didn't want to just be the hype man for Daniel Ricciardo. I kind of wanted to analyze and state why there's such this, I guess, love that I have for him. And it's on that level. So maybe back in this Red Bull system, Toro Rosso / AlphaTauri being a part of that, I guess not following it very closely, hopefully it just gels.
I get
remains
that.
to be seen.
I guess when it comes down to Q1 this weekend, let's see how they go getting out of Q1. If they both get out of Q1, fantastic. If just one does, awesome. But if neither of them do, you just want to hope Danny's ahead of him.
Exactly. I did a little bit of research for this weekend. I've had, and Reese, you'll enjoy this, I've had a little bit of a look at the weather.
Good.
Yeah.
How rainy is it?
Okay, so not as rainy as we want. It's going
Damn
to be rather wet on the Friday. So the practice sessions are going to be wet. Saturday is supposed to be very, very overcast, possible shower, and then Sunday is supposed to be sunny. Now, racing weather is far more entertaining to watch. What I like about this, though, what I like about a mixed weather weekend is it forces the teams into a position where, okay, once you hit qualifying, Parc Fermé rules come. You cannot touch your car or adjust anything. There's like one setting you can adjust, which is
your
front
wing.
wings.
It's your front wing, not your rear wing. Only your front wing.
Yep. Apparently, no one's allowed to touch the rear wing. Every time someone touches it, everyone's like, "Find him, lock him up." You know how it goes.
Throw him in jail.
Brilliant. If you haven't, you should probably send a little bit of money to Rocket Powered Mohawk to get his podcast, which he can't release for free. It's brilliant.
There's reasons for it.
There's reasons, yeah. What I really like about this setup, though, is, okay, in the practice, you're in the rain, so you need to set your car up in a particular way, and you're using a different set of tyres. Your data is worthless.
It really means nothing.
Then it comes to qualifying, and you need to make the call. Okay, do we set this car up for the wet? Absolutely nail qualifying, and then hold position. It's Hungary. You can get away with holding position. I want to draw your attention to Exhibit A of Fernando Alonso absolutely making Hamilton work so hard for a pass on the track in the dry. When was that? 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was Ocon's win.
It was, yeah, you know. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. I don't want to.
No. We will acknowledge it later. That's all.
You can.
I shall. I'm willing to fall on the sword for that one.
I'm not.
So if you have this wet setup car and you get on pole, then you're essentially setting yourself up for what? However many laps it is. Is it in the 70s?
It's 70-something. I think it's 70 laps.
It's a short track.
It is only 2.72 miles.
Yeah. So then you're essentially playing a defending and pit strategy game to maintain your road position and hopefully just block people. Or you can go the opposite. All right, we're going to sacrifice a little bit of time in qualifying and then earn it back on the racetrack with a better setup. That interplay is always fascinating. Simply because you get a team like Williams, McLaren-ish, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, who will normally do something absolutely bonkers and just get in the way of everybody for the race.
I know, but the other thing too is this track is notorious for having no passing zones. There's only one real passing opportunity, and that's turn one. So doing the Monaco train strategy is actually viable. You've just got to block for one corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, that one corner has led to some pretty interesting results in the past. I want to draw your attention to Valtteri Bottas.
The kamikaze.
Look, I still rate that as one of the funniest F1 moments of all time because what is it? 6 drivers got taken out in one corner from 2 crashes because there was the Valtteri who took out 3 or 4 people. No, there was another one behind where the other 2 cars bungled into each other and went off in the slide, but they weren't touched by Valtteri.
No, my favorite moment of that, because it was wet at the start. So they've all done laps under the safety car, and then as the safety car's pulling in, every car pulls into the pits because the track's dry enough to have dryers on. There's one car that stayed out on wets, so there's just one Mercedes on the grid because no one wanted to be around a Mercedes at that point.
No. Is that the same year or a different year?
Same year. It's literally the restart after that crash, after the red flag.
Yeah, it's the racing isn't always the best, but something always happens at Hungary, and I think it's because it's right jammed up to like the mid-season break. We've got one race after this. So you've kind of got people going, well, you know what? We've got development coming. Most of these parts are getting changed. Have at it, boys.
It is funny.
It is funny. Look, do we want to talk about some track facts?
Okay, I'm going to ask you questions about it because I've got it open up right now.
Oh, is this trivia again?
No, this isn't the trivia I've got for later, but this is I found something that's really funny. Can you name me the location of the Hungaroring in Hungary?
Yes.
Take a guess. Where do you think it, without Googling?
Okay.
I seen your face go straight to it.
Yep. No, I had the Wikipedia open. It's now closed. Off the top of my head, I don't actually know, but I want to say it's near Budapest because it's the only place in Hungary I know.
I mean, yes, but to be completely correct, it is in Pest County.
Okay, Pest.
Pest.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yes, it's a very pest track, isn't it? And for anyone who's like not an English first language speaker, that pest means like annoying animal or like a frustrating little thing.
So technically you're right saying it is in Budapest, but I just wanted the county name, Pest County.
I'll take that. That's a fair question. What's next?
How many turns? Off the top of your head.
22?
14.
14. Oh God, I'm way off there.
Lap record? Who holds it?
Okay. So I know from memory that this is one of Lewis's best tracks of all time.
Is it now?
Yes. So it's Valtteri Bottas.
No, it's Lewis Hamilton in the W11, 116.627.
It is a brilliant track to watch highlights on because it is so fast and sweeping. Okay, so it is Lewis. I knew it was his best track.
What was the old lap record on the old circuit? So in 2003, they changed it. Just take a guess on who has it.
Okay, 2003.
So the lap record was set in 2002.
Michael?
Yep.
Cool.
116.207.
And what was Lewis's from?
116.627.
So the track change really didn't bring about much, did it?
Actually it did, because if you look at the old track, there was a shorter run to turn one. Turn one was a sweeping, sort of like a sweeping loop. And then turns 12, 13, and 14 were completely different because it had like a straight there. It's probably the best way to describe it.
And I guess when we are talking about the track of Hungary, it's another one that falls into the flow state track where your decision on turn one affects you pretty much right up until turn 6. And then your decision from there affects you for the next 5 or 6 corners. So it is one of those tracks that relies heavily on perfection at certain points of the track to set you up for success in the next ones. Most tracks have 2 or 3 corners that link and loop. Hungary is one of those ones that all of them essentially link together in some way.
I'll give you the big run is from turn 6. Actually, I'd say 5, 6, 7. The braking zone into 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is your biggest run of linking together. Because if you fuck up early on into like turn 8, then your run out of turn 11 is going to be half a second slower.
And there you go. Like it's a track with, what was that, 6 corners?
That was about
5 or 6 corners.
Yeah,
7. Where and we're talking tenths, hundredths, thousands of a second. Every little part of time affects that end run. So yeah, it's awesome. What's your next one?
What's my next one? How many fans fit into the Hungaroring?
Okay, grandstand capacity, I want to say 185,000.
It's only 70,000.
That's very small, isn't it?
It is a very small track. But
True.
that's it. That's it for questions for the track.
Okay, well, that's a far better way of doing it instead of just reading it off, so I enjoyed that.
You got any highlights?
Yeah, I've got a couple. So I've mentioned the first one, the Alonso versus Hamilton defense, and that was Alonso's first year back, wasn't it? He was in the Alpine.
Yep.
Hamilton tried to pass him, I want to say, for 5 or 6 laps this battle went on, with Fernando Alonso showing just why he is one of the best natural defensive drivers of all time. He was putting that car in places that was making Hamilton go either to the outside or the inside, and he just positioned himself perfectly. When this race happened, every single person spoke about it for weeks afterwards. You saw two of the best drivers of all time with no one else around them to get in the way, just fight it out in pure competition. Hamilton did end up getting past at the end, I believe.
Yeah, but it was too late at that point. He had no time to catch up to Esteban. So realistically, that meant Alonso won that race, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I do want to point out another memory from that is the celebration afterwards where Fernando picks Esteban up like a ballet dancer. His arms are out and they spin around in the pit lane.
Yeah,
everyone put that to Titanic music. I thought that was fantastic. I've also got another highlight from that battle is one of our favorite commentators and possibly the most developed immune system on the planet, Nico Rosberg, was in commentary, and anytime he's commenting on Hamilton, it's brilliant because Sky is traditionally normally more biased or in favour, or even just outright biased at most times towards Lewis Hamilton. Then you have Nico Rosberg, who is the complete opposite. So I thought that was brilliant. Anytime I can hear Nico kind of putting in little digs through commentary, I think's fantastic.
I agree.
The other memory is, of course, the Valtteri Bottas just bowling, taking out a bunch of cars, and all the photoshops of him afterwards with the bonsai headband on.
Yep.
I thought was brilliant. And that's kind of all my memories for Hungary.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back even to some like old school memories, but I don't really have... Oh, actually, I do. It's known as a track that gives a lot of first-time wins. Obviously, we talked about Esteban getting that win because of Alonso. There's another few world champions who have had their first win at this track.
Now, was it Max?
No, Max won his first race at Spain.
Spain.
And his very first Red Bull race.
Yeah, they're freak.
Yes.
Okay, who else had their first wins at Hungary?
Jenson Button.
Okay, yep, world champion.
Yep, I'm looking for it now on this thing. Give me a second. Fuck, where was it? I literally was reading it before. Fernando.
Awesome.
Fernando got his first win here. Damon Hill got his first win here.
Damon Hill, all right, yep. Carry on, sir.
There's one more. He's not a world champion, but his name's Heikki Kovalainen. He won in 2008.
Heikki. Man, I haven't heard that name in a while. He was brilliant.
He was Lewis's teammate that year because Fernando pissed off back to Renault.
Well, okay, there you go. So I guess Hungary does have a merit. Sometimes it is a bit of a drag of watch, and that's simply just the passing aspect's not there. But for any of the strategy heads or that sort of stuff, there's a lot on offer at this track. It's also where I think Seb Vettel really, really shone with his social work that he does, where he wore the rainbow helmet in Hungary, where that is technically an illegal symbol to use. Didn't care. So I think that's also brilliant too. I'm always going to be a supporter of the drivers being allowed to make statements that they believe in. I think it does annoy people, but you know what? Celebrities are allowed to use their platform. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I mean, we all know Lewis will have the rainbow on his helmet this weekend.
Yep, and we will never critique the work that Lewis actually does for the communities he cares about and involved in. He's a fantastic philanthropist like that. Same with Seb. Wasn't it Seb and Lewis hosted a race in Saudi Arabia specifically for female drivers? Yeah. They do brilliant work together. Now, you have trivia for me, mate.
I do. So, to get payback on you from the other show.
And if anyone hasn't listened,
Jack likes to bring up trivia that I'm not good at.
And the next one's flags.
Yeah, I'm not going to be good at it. So to preemptively get back at you, I googled a quiz.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you a few questions off of it to see how you do. Are you ready for this?
Yes. Yes.
Question 1. Which team holds the record for the most Constructors' World Championships in Formula One history?
McLaren.
Wrong.
Williams.
Also wrong. You get one more guess.
Most constructors wins.
Yep.
Ferrari?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
You get
so that's
one
a third
point.
Of a point.
Yeah, I'll give you a third of a point.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Jackie Stewart achieved the World Championship in 1969, 1973, and which other year? 71, 79, 80, or 77?
Oh, see, I'm stuck between 79 or 78.
78's not an answer.
Okay, I'm stuck between 79 and something else you said.
77?
70, I'm going to say, yeah, that's the one, 77. Nah, I'm going to go 79.
It was 71.
Oh, okay. No points. I'll take it, though. I do like Sir Jackie Stewart. I think he's fantastic, especially when on Top Gear they always refer to him as a woman. I think that's hilarious.
Where was the first Formula One night race held? Singapore,
Ooh.
Abu Dhabi, Monza, or Bahrain?
Oh, okay. Singapore.
You're correct.
Yes. Yeah, I knew the others are more recent. Singapore's been around for a bit longer because Bahrain's practically brand new. Monza, I don't think, has ever done it at night time.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Saudi Arabia is relatively new on the calendar, all things considered.
Which Formula One driver has the most podium finishes? Fernando, Michael, Ayrton, or Alan Prost?
Michael.
You're correct.
Yeah, it was
You
either
got-
going to be Michael or Lewis, and since Lewis wasn't there, it had to be Michael. Ayrton, still one of the greatest talents to ever see the sport, but he was in the sport for 3-4 years. Life was taken way too soon.
He was in it for like over a decade.
Really? I thought he was only in for such a short time.
No,
Because
he
he
like
was-
started in the 70s, like late 70s, and got through to 94.
Oh, wow. Okay, that changes my perspective because I do like Ayrton Senna, but I've never really watched his races because everyone just talks about him with like reverence, I guess.
Juan Pablo Montoya left Formula One in 2006 to join what sporting comp?
IndyCar.
No.
Okay. Is it... I have one question. Is it racing?
Yes. Do you want me to give you the full multiple choice?
Yes, please.
But you only get one chance at it.
Yep, happy with that.
Le Mans, WRC, MotoGP, or NASCAR?
For some reason, NASCAR's sticking out, but so's Le Mans. I want to say Le Mans?
It was NASCAR.
Ah, damn it. I knew he was in NASCAR at one point because I've heard him spoken about there because he was also wild over there too, wasn't he?
Yep. Here we go. Which Formula One Grand Prix does Gulf Air sponsor?
Gulf Air.
GULF.
Yep. So I want to say that's either Qatar or Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi
And I'm
was
going-
an answer.
Was?
It was the only one of those two that was an answer.
Okay, I'm going to say Abu Dhabi.
It's not Abu Dhabi. It's Bahrain.
What? Oh,
Bahrain.
really? Oh, the Gulf. Yes. I knew it had to be on the Arabian Peninsula because that Gulf is where that airline's founded. So I knew it was in there somewhere.
What year did Michael Schumacher first drive for Ferrari in Formula One?
Okay, so he began at Benetton.
Did he now?
He raced at Benetton at one point in his career.
He did.
Was he Jordan originally?
He was for one race.
One race at Jordan. Okay, cool. And then Benetton. Then he went Ferrari. I want to say either 99 or 2000. And I'm going to say 98.
Not an answer.
What are the choices?
78, 94, 92, or 96?
96.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. I knew it was just before the millennium, and it didn't really all come together until they clicked into 2000. That's when it was just absolute dominance.
In 2008, who set the record to become the youngest driver to win a Formula One race?
Max Verstappen.
No. You didn't listen to the question. In 2008.
Oh,
who set the
2008.
record?
Seb Vettel.
Yes.
Yeah, because he was 18 and Max was 17, I think, and then they banned 17-year-olds from racing.
Yep. I'm still scrolling down trying to pick another question for you.
That's okay. I feel like I'm going about average. I should be better.
I stopped counting.
The listeners know. They know what I'm doing.
Ooh. Which car company provides the engines for the Formula One Red Bull team? Now, keep in mind, this was an earlier question. Like, this was made a few years ago.
Okay. So I'm going to see if I can remember all the manufacturers that Red Bull has worked with, because they've changed quite a bit.
Actually, that's probably a better one, because you'll probably pick this up pretty quickly. Name all of them.
So Renault's one.
Yes.
Honda's one.
Yes.
Red Bull Powertrains is one.
Yes, but who is that with?
I don't
count Red Bull Powertrains because they're with a company car.
Company car. Honda? No.
It's not yet a partnership. It will become a partnership.
Oh, Ford.
Yes. There's one more.
Yeah, that was going to be my next one. They're moving to Ford when that new engine regs come through.
There's one more engine.
All right. One more engine. So I've said Renault, said Honda. Were they Toyota at one point?
They weren't.
Okay, no, I have no clue.
It's a very obscure one, but the very first year of Scuderia Toro Rosso, they had to have a Ferrari engine. Because of a grandfather deal from Minardi, they had to have a Ferrari engine that year.
How did that perform?
Well, they went to Renault the next year.
Okay, yep. Question answered, yeah. Yep. Okay, I feel like I did pretty good there with that one, because engines aren't super crazy. Once we get into like the mid-2000s, engines simplify a huge amount because there's only a couple of manufacturers. Back in the day, in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was like some of the engine manufacturers was Bob and his shed.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like, a dude who's like, I just bang this together and it's really quick.
I'm just looking for one last question for you.
Cool, because then I have one question for you.
Awesome. This is it. Which driver won the 2013 Formula One Monaco Grand Prix?
2013. Monaco. Oh, I want to say Danny, but I don't know if he was winning races then.
No, he was at HRT that year.
HRT, cool. So it wasn't him. 2013. Now, I have a distinct feeling that this is the only race that this driver's ever won. Pastor Maldonado.
No.
Okay.
I'll give you one more guess. One more guess.
2013 Lewis.
Wrong. It was Nico.
Nico. Yep. That's fair. That's fair. So my question for you, and it's going to be a little bit of a painful one. It's very, very rare that an F1 team just starts.
Yes.
So the most recent one was Haas.
Mm-hmm.
Name the derivative team. So pick some teams. Who were they before they were today?
Okay, we'll start with Mercedes.
Yep.
Before Mercedes, they were Braun, which was bought from £1 of Honda.
Yes.
Honda bought the team from British American. It was BAR Racing. It's British American something. And there's one before. I believe the one before that was Stewart. I want to say it was Stewart Racing for Jackie Stewart. I think it was his team. And that was when that team was founded.
Yes, I believe that to be correct. I'm just looking for a neat little graphic that I used to have saved.
Cool. I can do one for Ferrari. It's just been Ferrari since it started.
Yep.
McLaren also, since it started, has been McLaren.
Same with Williams.
Same with Williams.
Who did Jordan turn into?
Jordan now is Alpine.
Correct. Yep. I just find it so fascinating that there's that evolution of this sport where,
Wait, is it?
Maybe.
Hold on. No. Sorry. No, that's wrong. It started as Benetton into Renault into Defunct into Lotus into Renault into Alpine. So it was Benetton that started it. It wasn't Jordan. Jordan is what's currently Aston Martin.
Yes, actually, that's right, because they've had that weird evolution.
Yeah. Because it went Jordan into, I want to say it was Midland for a year.
Midland was definitely in it for a while, like a year.
And then there was Spiker, and then it went to Force India to Racing Point to Aston Martin.
Well, you see, this is why I make trivia hard for you on our other show, because this one's impossible to get you on.
And then Sauber. Sauber was Sauber to begin with, and then in 2007 it was bought by BMW, so it became BMW Sauber. That was for a few years, and then BMW left, went back to Sauber, then to Alfa Romeo, and has now been bought by Audi and will become Sauber for the next 2 years and then become Audi Racing in 2026.
What ended up happening to... Oh, God. It was just on the top of my head. Minardi.
Minardi's AlphaTauri.
AlphaTauri, yep.
So it was bought by Red Bull a year after Red Bull bought Jaguar.
And Red Bull bought Jag, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where... Because I remember it was a British team. The history of F1 is fascinating with how these teams have evolved. Here's just this is just a pure enjoyment question. Your favorite livery of all time?
My favorite livery of all time?
Yep.
Oh, fuck. Because there have been some crackers, but it's got to be the chrome McLaren of like the late 2000s, early 2010s. The
Vodafone
livery.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lewis won his first world championship in it. Oh, it was just dope.
That was stunning for me, and it's not allowed anymore, but was it the Marlboro liveried car? I can't remember who had it. Yeah, was it the McLaren? Because
the red and white one? The red and white one?
Yeah, McLaren.
Yeah, the Ayrton Senna one.
Yeah, that there was fantastic. And weirdly enough, and you hate this, I remember when we first started enjoying the sport together and I pointed out what I thought my favourite car was. Can you remember? Because you hated this one. The black and gold Rich Energy Haas was so good looking. So good looking.
It's so bad. That brought down the downfall of that team.
Look, it did. The sponsorship is it Will Story, the absolute lunar fucking tick?
Yeah, Bad Santa.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's something about black and gold. It looked good. It was unique. I like that one. Ferrari always looks pretty damn good.
I mean, it's always red.
Yep. The only misstep I think they had was when they had the green Mission Winnow thing on it. That was just strange.
Didn't make sense to have that lime green on there.
What was your ugliest or least favorite livery of all time?
Oh, it's the fuck, what was it? Oh, it has to be the Pink Panther. I hated
Yeah, that's mine too. Yep.
The
Pink Panther.
I hated the pink on it. I hate anything with pink on it, to be honest, but that was really bad.
Oh, and see, I'm the opposite. I like the colour pink.
I like the colour pink too. I've just never found it good on anything that's car related.
Yeah, no, particularly in cars, it doesn't work in our opinion. It was striking. Did get the attention, and they needed the attention, but I tell you what, didn't look good. Also, some of the other weird ones, like back in like late 80s, early 90s, you'd get a lot of like yellows, blues, and reds all kind of just smushed together on a car, really like colour blocked out. They were always interesting. But I guess, mate, we should probably get into some predictions for the weekend.
Max puts it on pole, gets the lead into turn one, and then pulls a 35-second lead on the rest of the pack.
Not crazy. Not crazy.
The craziest part's the 35 seconds.
And even then, it's not that crazy. Like, you're like, 35 seconds. He can do that.
He can probably do that.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a particularly strong track for Fernando. We've seen how close he can get to max qualifying.
Mm.
If he
Who
can
has
get
the
it on
inside
pole.
line? Who has the inside line going into turn 1? Is it pole or is it 2?
Well, this is the track where you want to actually start third, not second.
Yeah, I know. Because you want that
So I'm
slipstream.
going to say it's the inside.
Yeah. I can't remember. Because if you could get the inside on 2, then you've got a better chance of passing Max into turn 1. Then you just got to hold him for that second little straight and get him on the outside of turn 2.
Yeah, and if there's a man who can do that, it's Fernando.
Oh, easily.
Do you suspect the Mercedes to have any effect here this weekend?
I reckon it'll be a strong track. Remember last year, Woody put it on pole and they had a double podium.
Yeah. I do remember that.
I reckon Mercedes will look stronger than McLaren and Aston Martin this weekend.
Okay, and that's a significant mix-up for the year, so I'll take that. Now, McLaren. Upgrades had an effect at Silverstone.
I don't think they have an effect here.
Yep, I agree. I think
it's a struggle weekend for McLaren, but a struggle weekend with a new car, so probably like 9th, 10th, which is still better than what they were.
Yep, no, I'm happy with that. I think that's a pretty fair assumption. The usual stragglers down the bottom will be fine. Look, those Haas boys can qualify pretty well.
It's their tyres that kill them.
It's the tyres that kill them. If they're qualifying relatively well, you can form a train here and cruise around and manage your tyre wear relatively well. So if they manage to just throw all their eggs for qualifying, they might just disrupt the race and strategy enough to snag a points finish. I think, done well, Haas will kind of elbow their way into something good this weekend. I don't think it'll be indicative. I think it's just using every little advantage that they have just to wrangle a few more points.
It's just conserving that tyre wear because that tyre just gets eaten up on the Haas. It's always been like that this year. The tyre wear on the Haas kills them in the race, and that's why they're always at the back because they got to pit 5 laps earlier than everyone else.
And from what you understand about this, is it a mechanical wear, so the actual friction and heat generated, or is
Got no idea. They just seem to eat through tyres.
Yeah, and you are right. I'd just be wondering if it's more like, okay, is it the way that the air's flowing around it causing hot bits that are essentially boiling it, or is it just the mechanical wear of how the wheels are set up in the suspension geometry that's just eating them? We don't know.
I feel like it's a bit of column A with a bit of track temperature as well, because when the track temperature is high, that's when the Haas chews through it like nothing else. It's the same with the AlphaTauris. They chew through them as well at high temps on the track.
So he's hoping for overcast all weekend then, hey?
Pretty much. You just want a bit of cooler track temps for them.
Yep. Williams, if anyone's going to wring something out of it, I think Albon will. Hopefully Sargent, at this point in the season, has a little bit more consistency with it. Hungary is a very difficult track. I want him to perform well here. Albon is still, I think, very, very clearly the more experienced and talented driver at this point. Talent also comes with experience. Hopefully, the Williams has a good thing here. I'm a big Williams fan, especially Albon. But I also I like Sargent. He seems like, he's a really good addition to the sport. He's an American. That brings in a huge amount of views and growth for the sport. And that's what we want to see. We want to see it more popular. But what I like about him too is, I guess, and anyone who is an American will know this, that each part of the world views your country very, very differently because of the fact that it is a superpower. And once your country clicks into that, there's a lot of different perspectives that people have on it. What I like about Logan is he just seems like a very, very good, almost like cultural ambassador for the country. He's a very clean young man, not very controversial. He puts his helmet on. He does his job. It's not always perfect, but he's also a junior at it. So I like him. I want to see more of him.
Fair enough.
To answer your question, is there anyone else I really want to talk about? No.
There's not really anyone else to talk about. I don't see the Alfa Romeos having a strong weekend. I mean, the Alpines, maybe one of them will have a strong weekend. The other one will probably get 15 seconds worth of penalties.
I tell you what, it's going to I tell you what, if Ocon wins again, it's going to really fucking shake up the sport.
Oh, please no. Well, do you see any other car other than that Red Bull winning this year, realistically?
Yes, I still believe that there will be a race where Max doesn't win.
Okay, they've had two. Sergio won them.
Okay, I do see a race. Yeah, it's true. He did win a couple. I do see another manufacturer getting a race win. Do I think it's on sheer just like actual pace and beating them? No, I think that at one point something's going to let go on that Red Bull. Sergio will be qualifying and fighting his way through the pack. Then it will be an absolute fisticuffs between one of the Mercs, one of the Astons, and just like whoever manages to get it gets it. That's where I see it happening. Pace-wise, no.
We didn't speak about the Ferraris.
I mean,
how long until they fuck it up?
Well, that's the thing. Has Ferrari done anything worth speaking of apart from us? It's the same as Max. We mention Max every week because you have to talk about the winner. But, you know, Red Bull isn't changing anything they're doing and it's working. Ferrari's not changing anything they're doing and it's not working. Like, what the fuck do you want us to talk about with them?
Actually,
like, genuinely.
We missed something. Red Bull's bringing an upgrade this weekend that they reckon will shave 0.2 off their time.
No, ban them. Stop them. Please. It's not necessary. And I love watching Max win, but please don't let that happen.
It's like that scene in The Simpsons where Homer's dressed up as Krusty and he goes to like Krusty Burger. And like the Hamburglar turns up and Homer kills him. That kid's like, stop, he's already dead.
Yep. Yeah. It's it's already that, like, I think that if I'm a team principal of Williams or the Alphas, either or, I'm going to be like, Red Bulls, we're going to upgrade. Sweet, not an issue. If I'm Aston or Mercedes, that's where I'd be, or Ferrari, I'd be really, really nervous to be like, well, we already can't beat them at our max. Like, what's the point now? Like, genuinely.
At what point does Red Bull just focus all their time on next year? At what point do you call it?
I reckon now, man, honestly, I think that there's no big changes coming in next year. There'll be maybe some anti-competition things, maybe a little bit of a limit here. The other thing we haven't talked about is apparently everyone's breaking the budget cap again.
Yeah, true.
But we're not going to talk about it now, one, because we've spoken for an hour, and two, there's no actual information apart from every team being like, no, it's not us, it's everyone else. That's it. That's the news. Everyone's saying someone else did it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb, though, and say I don't think Red Bull's done it again. But if they have, that's fucking hilarious.
It's all catering, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So, yeah. Have you got anything else you want to add?
Not really. Nick's been online today just saying he's going to be taking a break.
Good. You need one.
Brad Pitt's once again at the Hungaroring.
Well, he's making an F1 movie, isn't he?
Yeah, well, his garage is set up again. Sonny Hayes. Driving car 58. I didn't realize that last week. Oh, sorry. Garage 58. He's in car 7. So he stole Kimmy's number.
Yeah. There you go. Take from that what you will. That's my thoughts on that. Are you going to watch it? I'm not going to watch it.
I'll watch it.
Yeah. I don't watch anything. Look, let's wrap up, mate. Otherwise, we'll go for all night. Thank you for listening, everybody. We hit another massive milestone over the last week. We spoke a couple of weeks ago how last year it took us a year for 1,000 people to hear us. And then we mentioned a few weeks ago that, in the first 5 or so months, we've got to 2,000. It's happened again. We're now a month or two after that. We've made it to 3,000. Took us by surprise. It means so much to me and Andy as people who are doing this, one, because we love it, and two, it's a creative outlet. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for listening. And those people who've been with us from day one, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We want to build a little bit of a family around this where we can all just kind of talk and enjoy this sport that we like, and especially if you like it in our style. Of course, we've got our social media, which is at Formula Bums, except for Twitter, which is at Bums Formula. My bad.
Website's down.
We've sunsetted the website. Life's just too busy for us to be podcasters and authors. One day, when we're more stable and more organized, it will be back up, but it's not a pride at the moment.
It might be back up in a month or two, but it'll be more just a like here's the show sort of thing. Here's what we're doing. Nothing crazy. No posting, no blogging, none of that shit for now. Just like a little one-stop shop. You can send us reviews on the website, that sort of thing. Please do. It would help us a lot. You can tell us where we suck and not, but yeah, it'll probably be down for like a month, maybe two. Nothing crazy.
And we do. You've seen the interaction we've had with Chunky over in the US. That's been so much fun to interact with and muck around with. So, and we'd love for more of you to reach out. It'd be cool every week if we could read a few things that you guys have sent us, even if they're positive or negatives. It's fun. We just like talking about this crap. And apart from that, we'll see you next week for a review.
Catches.
Catch up.